As you know, a total abortion ban has been implemented in the state of Texas after the U.S. Supreme Court refused to block a law that denies women the right to end a pregnancy after 6 weeks with no exception. Now, most people when talking about abortions mention the whole pro-life, pro-choice thing, and I just want to focus for a minute on those terms and show you how misleading they are. Pro-life makes it sound like people in that camp value life above everything. It also makes people who are not pro-life sound like horrible monsters who don't value life and get a kick out of killing babies. But that, of course, is horse crap. You see, many of those who oppose abortions don't really care about life. I know this because once the unwanted baby is born, they don't give a shit about it. They don't offer to adopt it. They don't give money to support it. In fact, their determination to protect life from the moment of conception stops as soon as the baby is born. Now, this is particularly hypocritical in the state of Texas, a state that still has the death penalty. That's right. And some members of the state legislature want to execute women who end their pregnancies. But hey, they're pro-life, right? Well, apparently they're only pro-life while you're in the womb. Once you're out, they're pro-death. Let's just reframe it as, while pro-life people are indeed enthusiastic about protecting the life of a fetus that could not survive outside of the womb, they certainly are not concerned with said fetus quality of life, nor do they have a problem with ending the life of the woman who is carrying it. I've also heard people use the term anti-choice, but I still feel that that is misleading too. Let's not forget that many of these people are men who, when offered the male version of birth control, chose not to take it. Men who would refuse to get a reversible vasectomy, which is far less invasive than an abortion, because hey, my body, my choice. Plus, the idea of doing something to one's body, especially against their will, is just, what's the word? Wrong. Unless you're a woman, of course, in which case it's fine. Texas is also the same state where people argued their right not to wear a mask or get a vaccine that is proven to, at the very least, protect life, because it went against their, wait for it, right to choose. So my point is that the anti-choice movement is only anti-choice if and when it suits their agenda. Now, I've also heard the term anti-abortion, but you know what? That term is also misleading. If people who support abortion bans really were anti-abortions, then surely what they would want more than anything is to prevent unwanted pregnancies. Why? Because if there were no unwanted pregnancies, there'd be no need for abortions. And there are ways to at least reduce the number of unwanted pregnancies, like making birth control more accessible, maybe even free, putting in place better support systems for parents, more benefits, better parental leave options, and maybe even believing women and taking rape a bit more seriously. But surprisingly, they don't do any of that. The only suggestion I've ever heard on how to reduce the number of unwanted pregnancies is for women to stop having sex. Not men who can impregnate 9 women every day for 9 months. That's 2,430 pregnancies, while a woman can only get pregnant once within 9 months, even if she had sex 9 times a day. Yet weirdly, they always suggest women are the ones who should stop having sex. Which brings me to my point. Not only do they make it sound like women get pregnant all alone and that it's only their responsibility, but also that women should only have sex if and when they want to get pregnant. In other words, they completely ignore women's sexuality, sexual needs, and right to have sex just for fun. And if you peel one more layer off what I've just said, you will realize that what they are really saying is that women's sole purpose is to either carry pregnancies or satisfy men's sexual pleasure. And you know what that's starting to sound like? Misogyny, which is a form of sexism used to keep women at a lower social status than men. And before anybody pipes up and says, well, there are also women who are against abortions too, you're right. Misogyny also exists in and is practiced by many women against other women or even against themselves. Why? Because we live in a patriarchal society and we have been brainwashed to believe the patriarchal narrative. We are also so used to the premise of women suffering, we don't even have empathy towards it. And many people who oppose abortions that cause a lot of suffering to many women do so due to this conditioning and brainwashing. And the worst thing is, they don't even realize it. Others, on the other hand, like the lawmakers of these abortion ban laws, actively and knowingly strive to achieve a system in which women are second-class citizens, in which sex is a male prerogative and pregnancy is a woman's burden. Their arguments come from a deep hatred towards women, which is why I think it's time we stop using using all these misleading terms and call it by its real name. Not pro-life, not anti-abortion, not anti-choice, just anti-women. Because that's what it really is. The end.